Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And what's it gonna do?
It doesn't matter how you're doing. Woo! Wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Would you please shut the hell up?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the human rubble.
What up, what up? Welcome to episode 77 of Keep the Kayfabe. I'm Mike, sitting here with my boys, ready to talk some wrestling. We had a doozy of a AEW pay-per-view this last Sunday. AEW Revolution lived up to the hype. It was pretty awesome. If you caught our prediction show last week, we locked in our picks. This week we're going to run down the card, see who picked correctly and who was an utter failure. And it's going to be a lot of fun because this was a really great show. I can't wait to talk about it with the boys. But before we get in to see who the new King Booker is and who everybody picked, let's introduce everybody real quick. Over in Glendale, somebody who keeps it regal. And now he's that rings more true than ever now. I can't wait to talk to my guy, Steve Grobschmidt. How are you, Grabby?
Gentlemen, welcome to War Games.
Bring it, baby. Bring it back. Yes. Yeah, we're definitely going to touch on the newly signed AEW mega superstar. I mean,
That's how I feel.
Spoilers. I mean, William Regal is on AEW, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get there. But man, it's so exciting. So let's get to the other guys real quick. Down in Bayview is my dude who keeps it freshly squeezed, Mr. Matt Michelson. How are you, Matt?
He's a man, a real man's man. I don't even know that era of Steven Regal. I just know the song from like the WWF old school music album on Spotify.
I wasn't watching, but I kind of remember because I was a huge Regal fan from the beginning, but so I paid slight attention when he shifted over. But yeah, it was corny as shit, of course. But
those of our listeners,
he made it work.
Yeah, and for those of our listeners who dig old school entrance themes, you should go back and listen to the episode called "Hit My Music." It's a classic.
Right. Yeah, and I hear we're going to have a Hit My Music Part 2 game coming up in the pipeline here pretty soon, right, Matt?
That is absolutely true. For you longtime listeners out there who may have heard the original Hit My Music episode, there's another one coming. Just when you thought we had gone through all the entrance music, there's always more. So stay tuned for either the next episode or maybe the one after that. We'll see, but just keep listening. It's coming.
Awesome. I'm excited. That's pretty much the only game I'm good at here on Keep the Kayfabe. Just when we run down the picks, you'll see. But before we get into them, let's talk to my good friend down in Bayview also. Oh my God, it's Charlie Michael. What up, bro?
How much? Whose house? Whose house? Swerve's house. Come on. Did you just watch the show last night or what? Jesus.
You know, I swear I had the volume turned up when I was watching it, and I could not hear what the crowd was saying when he was saying whose house. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
Well, there was a little hint on Tony Schiavone's clipboard that said "swerve" in really big letters.
Did it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you said you caught it.
Kind of
Yeah,
spoiled it.
So I thought it was going to be Paige Van Zandt because they had hyped that up. She was going to sign a contract.
Mm.
What's the point if she can't wrestle Brandy?
Yeah, exactly.
God. It will forever live in infamy. The worst segment in AEW history.
That was the worst segment in their history.
There's no way. I was just thinking that today. There's no way they can go back and not get booed when they return. They're screwed. They have to stay off TV for a while. Even if they sign back, it's going to be 6. They can't go on AEW TV for a long time.
Especially, I mean, Brandy's irredeemable.
Yep.
Cody would have to do a lot of work.
Yep.
She's the shock master of 2022.
Dude, I was just about to say.
Except he
good
could
call
go.
there, Matt. Yeah. I actually read something today, too, that DDP had, because he's promoting a new show on Netflix that he's in. It's called, like, The Injustice Squad. Or
Yeah. It sounds like it might be interesting.
Yeah, I might look into it. But
Yeah.
he's like, Cody called me 2 days before he said anything, and he said it had nothing to do with the money. He just wants to do different things. And he had to call me first before anything. And I'm like, I don't really buy this, DDP. I think
I love DDP, I love DDP, but he's always selling.
Dude, I know you guys are saying, I know you guys like him, but that fucker is the biggest con man.
He is never off. Yeah,
he's PT Burnham, dude.
exactly.
He is PT Burnham, dude.
Same shameless
Self-promoter.
self-promoter.
As he calls
He's
himself in
always
his
selling
videos.
something, dude.
Two of us were DDP yoga guys, and he even calls himself that in a couple of the workouts.
Right. Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, we got a lot to get to. We got a big pay-per-view to run down. So let's run down the picks. Let's run down the matches real quick and not waste any more time because I know all the listeners are ready to see who is King Booker. So, King Booker right now is Matt Michelson, and we're all gunning for him. And to get King Booker, you have to book the pay-per-view the best by picking the right matches, the right winners, the right stipulations, if you didn't catch last week's episode. So, here's how it went. The AEW Revolution pay-per-view started off with Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho. We were all in agreement that Eddie Kingston would win this match. I actually used my kick-out, which is a mulligan. For short, we call it a kick out. I went with Chris Jericho, but I was like, this is going to be Eddie's time to finally get a big win on a big pay-per-view, and I'm so happy I kicked out of my pick with Chris Jericho, decided to go with Eddie, because Eddie ended up winning, and it was a great match. I didn't actually get to see this because I was working the Admirals game, so I got in a little late to the action, but I heard it was amazing. Can anybody talk about it real quick for me?
Yeah.
I didn't even see any highlights.
Dude, I freaking loved this match. And maybe it was just because it was the first match of the pay-per-view and I usually am pretty hyped going into it. But yeah, everything about it was great. I feel like Eddie Kingston, he always brings out the best in everybody he wrestles. And I think it's because he goes in just with so much intensity. And he definitely did in this match. Jericho was definitely pushed to work hard. Mike, I know you missed the match. For any of our listeners who didn't catch the very beginning of it, the very first move was a suplex where Eddie Kingston basically planted Jericho on the top of his head. And it just kind of set the tone for the rest of the match as being like, we're just not going to give any shits. We're going to go all out on this. And they certainly did. The end of the match was Eddie Kingston wrenching Jericho's arm back around his leg and actually getting Jericho to tap out, which like we said on the prediction show, we all called Eddie Kingston winning this. I didn't see that being the finish necessarily. It's not every time we see a submission. So I think that definitely spoke volumes that Eddie Kingston was able to get Jericho to tap.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really see Eddie Kingston as like a submission specialist, more of a grappler and brawler. So that's cool. Awesome. Anybody have anything else to add before we move on?
I think Chris Jericho's chest told the tale. I mean, those dudes were hitting hard, and and it was just, yeah. I mean, you could tell. I mean, they're both pros, obviously, but man, they were not. They were laying it in snug, as they say. And no, it was great. It was great to see the crowd. Just, I mean, I was kind of chuckling because I'm not a judgmental person. I think wrestling's at its best when people of all different body types. But when you look at Eddie Kingston, he is not gifted with a good physique at all. And to just see a guy at that point in his career so over because he's so passionate and great promo, it's pretty cool. I mean, WWE
Definitely
would scoff at a guy like that because of how he looks, and he's just made it. You know, they found a place that believes in him. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They probably wouldn't even let him drive a truck in WWE.
Also, I love Eddie
They
Kingston's
did want him to be
facial
a
expressions
trainer,
during
though.
a match. He almost acts like one of the Three Stooges. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like the facial expressions he'll make at the camera just make you laugh. But then in a split second, he'll go back to this intensity. It's too fun to watch.
Right. No, I heard you Charlie, when NXT wanted Eddie Kingston to be a coach for some people to do promos.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, turned him down. He's like, I'm a wrestler. And what he does,
Yep.
He's smart. I mean, what he does can't really be taught. I think he would get way frustrated,
He'd probably be miserable there. Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's a guy that he can't be on a leash. He can't be like put in a box and conform to some set of rules, what you can and can't say. He's totally off the cuff and from the heart. So, yep. And looks like he's doing pretty well, getting his first pay-per-view win. And that was our first win on the board for all of us. We were in unanimous decision that Eddie would win, so we're all on the board with that. Moving on to match number 2, it was the triple threat tag team match for the tag team championship, Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. We all thought the Young Bucks would be the team that would win the Casino Battle Royale, which was really awesome.
I never had that. Oh, you mean the Casino Royale? I think you meant the match.
To get in.
Yep. Sorry about that.
So, yeah, that was Wednesday before we recorded the episode on Tuesday. So we all thought the Young Bucks were going to be that third team because at the time we didn't know. So in that match on Dynamite, the Casino Battle Royale, that was pretty good. It was really entertaining.
Yeah, it was a good match. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see Airwolf back in the mix. Flight in. That was great.
Darius Martin, talk about having a big debut return.
Yeah, they did him pretty well.
Right. And we all thought the Jurassic Express would win. Actually, Matt used his kick out in this match. He had Red Dragon initially. He smartly kicked out and went with the Jurassic Express, and Jurassic Express ended up retaining the belts. And again, I wasn't able to see this match either, but I saw some of the highlights. It looked like it was spot after spot after spot.
Oh, it was great.
So, yeah, Steve, if you want to lead us off.
Yeah, no, it was what you expect from 3 great teams. And actually, I should say 2 all-time great teams and 1 emerging team. But I think to their credit, the champs hung in there. They didn't look like they were
great.
Yeah, they didn't look like they were out of their league by any means. I think it was awesome. And I think there's a reason we picked Jurassic Express, because the other 2, there's plenty of story there without the belts being involved, and I think that's going to play out over time. And I think Jurassic Express needs the belt more than those dudes do right now. And it was great. After a while, there's so much good about it. I don't even know what to highlight, but it's just crisp and just the counter. Those teams, it's like they were just all on the same page, and it was awesome. And I actually saw CBS Sports Line's reviews this morning, and they gave it a B. And I'm like, what were they smoking? That's the worst take on a man.
Not smoking.
They were like, it just was nothing special. Whatever. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I agree with you, Steve. This was a fantastic match. I actually forgot I used my kick out last week. And so when I was watching this live and I saw Jurassic Express win the match, I was actually really disappointed at the time. But then about 20 seconds ago, Mike reminded me that I kicked out. So, all right, awesome. Nothing really to add to what Steve said. Fantastic match. Really happy to see Jurassic Express retain. On the night, it totally made sense too. And they feel like a bigger deal now because of it, which is perfect. It's great booking.
Yeah. And totally. And yeah, Steve, to your point before, Young Bucks, Red Dragon, they can tell a lot of story without the belts. And there's so many tag teams, as we saw in the Casino Battle Royale, and just tons of teams that could chase Jurassic Express. And Jurassic Express can go up against anybody, shape or form, and wrestle them any which way. So I'm excited to see how they can expand on their tag team run there. Charlie, did you have anything to add on this one?
Nope. You guys kind of said it all. It was a good match. I thought it was one of the better matches on the card.
Nice.
One quick thing. I love how they book Luchasaurus. It's like he's like a video game, when you unlock a special character, he comes in and he's almost unstoppable, but they don't overdo it. They don't overexpose him. It's like he comes in, does his stuff, and then quickly tags out. And I don't know. They do a really good job of making him like superhuman without making it ridiculous. And he's I guess compared to everybody else in the ring limited, but he looked great too. The stuff he's got his spots he does, and they were all crisp.
Yeah, he's always been one of my favorites. He's an OG when it comes to AEW, helped start the company. I was immediately attracted to him because a walking dinosaur with a green ton as a wrestler.
He's an actual dinosaur, exactly.
Right? And a champ. So we'll look forward to see what else they got going in their matches ahead for Jurassic Express. So one of our stipulations was match placement. We all got a chance to pick where a match would land on the card to gain a point. Charlie actually thought the ladder match would be opening match, and it did not happen. I thought John Moxley and Danielson would be third match. That didn't happen. But Steve and Matt thought Mox and Danielson would be opening match, and that didn't happen. So just a quick little rundown. None of us gained an extra point on there. So that's okay. But we're on the third match right now in the actual card, and that was the six-man ladder match to grasp the brass ring. That was with, real quickly here, Wardlow, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Christian Cage. So we all thought with Keith Lee coming into the company, freshly signed, he would be the perfect guy to put over in this match against all these people and grab the brass ring. We were all in agreement that Keith would win. But in the end, I mean, it does kind of make sense a little bit. Wardlow comes out of nowhere and beats everybody getting the brass ring, and he ended up winning this match, which was great. I mean, I was excited for him. I'm glad we all lost and nobody gained a point on one another. If we all lose, I'm glad we all rode together on it. But yeah, Charlie, what did you think? Do you think AEW fucked up by not putting Keith Lee over and Wardlow, or what do you think?
I guess for the storytelling with him and MJF, it's a good thing. But we'll see what happens. But I just kind of kills Keith Lee's momentum. Like, where does he go now? Because he's not gonna get the TNT belt anytime soon. Because I hope that they give Wardlow, unless MJF fucks him over, and
that's what I'm wondering.
And he makes Wardlow lose that match, which is a possibility. But
right,
there's a lot to be played out. So I guess we'll see. It's kind of like, yeah, there's a lot to be played out.
We saw in the promo on Dynamite too with Wardlow and MJF when he slapped Wardlow across the face. He said, "Even if you win the TNT belt, the belt is still mine." So yeah, there's gonna be some drama coming up. And honestly, out of the whole night of Revolution, I mean, this was Wardlow's big coming out party, and we'll get to when he got involved with CM Punk and MJF's match, but I mean, this was his Super Bowl, and I'm so happy for him. I've been a big fan since the beginning, so it's great to see that he won. And I mean, he's been hot. I mean, he hasn't been losing, and there's going to be a lot of good stories ahead with him too. Did you guys want to add anything about this match?
One quick thing about Keith Lee that I'd like your guys' take on, because obviously we all picked him, but just kind of observing him, and when he got super sick before he signed, and he looks like he's still kind of got some ring rust he's working out. He was very limited in that match. Like he did some impressive things, but otherwise, and I guess going through a table off of the stage is kind of a big deal. But I just wonder if they're easing him back in. Like he's not in his full gear yet. And I wonder, he seems like he's going to feud with Powerhouse Hobbs next, and I'm sure beat him. So I just wonder if they're just kind of cooling it with him a little bit to let him kind of get back in the ring shape. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a really good take. And that may be the case. The other thing I was thinking, because we were texting about this while we were watching the pay-per-view, and Charlie brought up the really good point of, well, why wouldn't you put Keith Lee over, being how hot he is with momentum coming into the company? And one thing I think we have to keep in mind as fans, because we're pretty hardcore when it comes to wrestling fans. I mean, obviously we're sitting here talking on our own podcast, but Keith Lee, I think, is one of those names and faces that, to a fan of AEW, more casual viewer, like somebody flipping through the channels or watching TBS once a week and that's it, Keith Lee may not be a household name. Obviously, he's incredible what he can do in the ring. But Steve, to your point, he's got a little bit of ring rust, it seems. He's still doing the moves he used to do in NXT. They just seem a little bit slower than he used to be. So I would not be shocked if AEW is just booking him in some, kind of standard undercard matches just to build up his ring charisma again. But I think once he gets to a certain point and he gets a couple victories over some guys like Powerhouse Hobbs and the like, I think we're going to start to see him, go after the TNT title. And with Wardlow being the face of the revolution and kind of the guy in the spotlight right now, I think it makes sense. Give Wardlow the moment to kind of take things in, get the spotlight, because then that lines up Keith Lee to not get overshadowed by anyone else when it is his time. So I got to believe there's a reason behind it. I mean, in 3 years, AEW hasn't really proven us wrong, with the exception of Cody and Brandy, obviously. We always talk about that. But I think beyond that, I have no doubt that they're going to book him in a good way. Maybe it's not the way we thought it is, but I'm sure it'll come.
Right. All good points.
Yeah, they kind of slow burn people. It's like they got, like Miro did that. I mean, granted that video game thing was kind of crappy, but they slow burned him, and then they flicked it on the switch and he went crazy. And I think Adam Cole, they started off kind of slow. I don't know. It's weird. It's like there's patience with it. And I think,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's interesting.
Yeah. He might just need to, get in the shape a little bit more. I mean, AEW is a very fast-paced company, too. I mean, everybody just flies around in this company, so coming from somewhere else, he might just need to catch up. It's kind of like hockey.
Plus, he was
different speed, or the NFL,
Yeah, I think more to the point. Yeah, I think he was really sick, and I think maybe that's part of it. And he was off for a while.
True. Yeah, he'll get there.
He will.
Can't wait.
He's too good not to.
But hats off to Wardlow. Real pumped for the War Dog. We all did not gain a point there, so that match was a wash. But moving on to one that we were all in agreement over was the Jade Cargill match versus Ty Conti. This was for the TBS Championship belt. We were all in agreement that Jade would win over Ty. Yeah, none of us were really excited about it. Jade kind of comes out in like a Mortal Kombat outfit. Get the wrestling video game synergy going there. Get people pumped up. It opened up with a kiss, which was kind of weird. But then I guess that's part of the Mortal Kombat character that this chick is imitating. I guess
I didn't even catch that at the time. Yeah,
I did.
Oh, yeah, good
so
call.
This is when I am at the drunk uncle now. So I just saw Wardlow get the ring. Like right when I walked in, I saw Wardlow at the top with the ring, and then I was like, oh fuck, what the hell is going on? So now I got learned up by some dude who's like, oh, that's part of the Mortal Kombat character. So but to open up the wrestling match with that was pretty confusing. Mm-hmm. But luckily this only went on for 6 minutes and 50 seconds. We actually saw Ty Conti do a big spot, and she did like a somersault off the top ropes to the outside of the ring, hitting Jade's manager. And before she did that, she did like the I'm crazy thing. Like,
I hated that.
Sammy likes to do.
That pissed me off.
Fuck, did that make me mad? I'm like, fuck you guys. Like,
have your own fucking personality.
Right.
Right.
I know, man. This isn't the fucking Lucy and Desi Arnaz show here.
It's like when Brie Bella used to do the yes chant. It's like, come up with your own fucking gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's like we're so in love and we're such a great couple. To me, that's just an even more of an indicator in how sucky this relationship is. But anyway, we're not going to go into it. But yeah, I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Yeah, we all got a point. That's all I really want to say, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the best I can say about it is I had zero interest in the match. And it actually was decent.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I expected nothing, and it definitely over-delivered. Mike, I really appreciate you sharing that trivia about the Mortal Kombat thing. I kind of was wondering if that was the gimmick, because she looked so familiar when she came out, and I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. It's been a few years since I've played it, so seeing that totally makes sense. Funny enough, the character's name in the game is Jade. So
I knew that. I heard that her costume was after that.
Yep.
But I didn't know anything about.
So that all totally makes sense. I thought Ty Conti looked really good offensively, like you said, Mike. But once she did the "I'm crazy" gesture to the camera, it totally lost me. I think if she wants to make a heel turn, she's totally queued up.
She's ready.
It's for the hardcores, obviously, who follow her on Instagram.
There's
You'll
three
get
guys,
why,
four
but-
guys here that want her. That'll be rooting against her.
I mean, hey, it's so true. I mean, I've said it once, I said it a million times. When you are open with a relationship in wrestling, the fans will turn on you. For
Well, especially when you act
just
like 12-year-olds
nature.
over it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
she's
and
amped
the
it
same
up.
way and the way they started dating too.
Right. Home record.
That's my gripe.
But when Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins were like open and exclusive, people were like, "Oh, you used to be the man," and now they're like, "Fuck her," like they ever had a chance or whatever. But I fell for it. Shit, I was the biggest Ty Conti person. Now I don't even barely watch her matches.
Now she's just somebody that you used to know.
Yeah, totally. That could be our closing music. Anyway. Okay, so this next match was the match that I was most excited about. Probably everybody else too on the show and around the world. It was the CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match. I mean, this could be one of my favorite matches, maybe of all time, at least in the last decade, I would say, just because it kind of had everything that I love. I mean, we saw MJF come out they first played CM Punk's music, then MJF cut in, kind of like he did at All Out when he wrestled Chris Jericho, so he did that again. But he comes out in this Burberry long, like, coat cape thing, like how... Was it like Rick Rude or just some of like Lex Luger came out in like way back in the day? Just looked good.
He always, if you notice, he'll always wear those robes, those big robes.
I love it.
For pay-per-views, yeah.
Yep. And he's got the boots with the Speedo. I mean, it's just old school. And then CM Punk comes out in his old Ring of Honor gear and his old music. And people in the bar that shout out to the Drunk Uncle, my favorite bar. It's a huge wrestling bar. If you want to have a good time, see a pay-per-view, have cheap drinks, have a great time, visit the Drunk Uncle in West Dallas for everybody here in southeastern Wisconsin. But everybody in the bar popped for that hard. I didn't really know what was going on. Again, somebody coached me up, be like, no, this was his old Ring of Honor shit. So, Charlie, what'd you think of that?
That was cool. I didn't really recognize the music, but I knew once I saw the gear that it was the Ring of Honor gear, because I didn't know his old Ring of Honor theme like many people did. But I just knew when I saw him in the gear, I'm like, oh, he's doing his Ring of Honor stuff. I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Excalibur, I think, smartened us up on it too. Somebody did, and that was helpful.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Excalibur.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one
I'm
of
sure
those things
JR
where
had no clue.
I didn't even catch what Excalibur was saying, honestly. I just saw him come out in different gear and with a different song. And then Justin Roberts introduced him as the Second City Saint, which I thought was really interesting.
Yep. That's his old Ring of Honor thing.
Yeah, which perfect night to reintroduce that gimmick, just with the magnitude of this match and everything. And also, Mike, I think you kind of touched on this, but MJF, kind of doing his troll move where we hear Cult of Personality play, but then it switches.
That was great. That was great too.
We've seen Punk do that before, actually, at All Out last year. But now it was so cool to see him do that, but then immediately see Punk come out with some totally different gimmick. And you could see the look on MJF's face just looking like, what the hell is this? What are we seeing here? So a really cool way to start off the match. It just totally wound me up for this match.
And I immediately regretted my pick with sticking with MJF for this match after all of that build-up from the intro music. I was like, well, I'm probably going to lose this one, so I'm just going to, have a drink, enjoy this one for what it is. And honestly, I fucking loved it. It just had everything. It had all the old school stuff that you would see in a dog collar match, or just old school selling. MJF is an awesome, just a great guy in the business right now, current, that pays homage to the old stuff, how he sells, the way he sells, his timing, how slow he does it too. I mean, when he was getting whipped out of the ring and then trying to run away, but he forgets that he's got a dog collar on.
Yeah,
And he's
of
like
course.
pretending to be hung outside of the ring. I just love it. Just they had so much like fun stuff in the first half of the match. This match went on for 26 minutes. I was like, it's kind of what you expected. It's going to be, the classic dog collar stuff, but then you knew it was going to get bloody because of how much hatred both of these people have built up for one another. We saw Punk get busted open. We saw MJF get busted open, but when they brought out the thumbtacks are always the thing that make me cringe, man. I mean,
You can't fake that.
No.
exactly. And you can't, and it's just like even stepping on him has to hurt. I even get worried for the refs, like when they do like the 3 count when he's pounding his hand down on it. It's just very uncomfortable. So it adds like this another element to the match. And yeah, it was amazing. It was a really, really fun match, but also brutal, entertaining, well-paced, great story. Did you think, as long as this build-up was, that this was, like, executed as a perfect capper, or do you think it fell short, or what did you guys think?
I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
But Matt, I feel you got to say something.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how I feel after this. This match had such a different feel than everything else on the card last night. Like, it felt so different, like not at all a wrestling match. And I think part of it was, and Charlie actually texted this to us while we were watching this live, was I do feel that the match ran a little bit long for what it was. Like it definitely had parts where it slowed down. But I think it may have slowed down just a little too much for a little too long. Now, granted, the opening sequence and the first few minutes of it were incredible because nobody knew what we were going to see. They definitely did some flashbacks to the original dog collar match with Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine. Just the way that they kind of pulled towards each other in the very beginning of the match was almost exactly the same as that original dog collar match. So that was kind of cool to see. I think the one spot that we all saw while watching this match live was when Punk passed himself a blade and then poked himself in the forehead to draw blood. And man, did he hit the right spot, because holy crap, the guy's face was completely red for at least the first half of this match. It was a little concerning, actually, after a little while, just because it didn't seem to be coagulating or clearing up. So I think that kind of had me in a weird place, but I think that was kind of the intent, right? Like, they were really trying to go over the top with this, sell the intensity of this feud. But yeah, the second half of the match, I think once MJF called for Wardlow, which Mike, I'll let you describe here in a second, I think that for me is when I knew the ending of the match was coming, and I just loved the way it unfolded.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty slow, and it was well timed too. But also one thing we can't forget too, they even had a microphone in the ring mid match, and they were talking back and forth to one another, which was kind of fun too. When what did CM Punk say to Max? Eat shit, Max, or something like that.
Yeah.
Very well done, like that. But yeah, as Matt said, MJF was getting a little desperate towards the end, and he wanted Wardlow to come out and assist him. He was looking for Wardlow to pass him the diamond ring to sucker CM Punk. Wardlow comes down. He's checking his pockets. He's checking his breast pocket, his inside pocket, his pants pocket. He can't find it. He's like, I don't know where it is. And so CM Punk, with that time, got a chance to recover, gives them the put to sleep, and into the thumbtacks, which was great. I mean, I was like, oh my God. And Max selling it too. Just
loved his face.
He looked like he was like getting a lobotomy, like laying down there and like his arms just out. And then War Dog was like, oh, weird. Found the ring, and he just puts it on the ring for it to be used, for it not to be used. But he's like, oops, here you go, and walks off. It was perfect. It was very well done. It's not like, an interaction with Max and Wardlow where it could be like really poorly done. I think it was well thought out and a great way to split off, in my opinion.
Yeah, all those times we thought it was going to happen, they finally did it. And at the right time.
Exactly. So the War Dog had 2 huge moments on a huge pay-per-view. So he had to have been partying. I can't wait to see where his story goes.
Yeah, exactly. He might like I think Charlie alluded to it earlier. He might be the next TNT champion, or he might get effed over by Spears slash MJF, and I mean they could go multiple directions. I'm almost leaning towards he's going to get effed over, but I really like to see Sammy lose the title though.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna try. I think they're gonna try, but Ward. I mean, for a long time now, Sean Spears has been the guy that has been pissing off Wardlow probably the most, even more than MJF. So I think they're gonna have some kind of Spears Wardlow thing to get him warmed up and get him more babied and more heat with him. And then we'll probably see MJF hopefully and Wardlow at All Out, which hopefully we will be in attendance again. So, yeah, it'll be
All
good.
Out's in Vegas.
No,
Double or Nothing's
Double or
in
Nothing's
Vegas.
the next one. Yeah.
Double or Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think they'll go Double or Nothing?
Yeah.
Max and Wardlow?
Yeah.
It's kind of soon.
That's sick. Well,
It's May,
yeah, it could
dude.
be.
Yeah, I think it's in May, so it's only about 2 months away. But
Yeah.
I think with all the history building up between Wardlow and MJF, I think they're already set for a match. So the next 2
Yep.
months are just going to be
Just
Wardlow
to get
officially
there.
breaking away,
Yep.
and then
They'll
them
they'll
building
feed
up.
him Spears first, and then yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I thought Spears would be at Double or Nothing first, and then
That's a TV match, man. I wouldn't put that on pay-per-view.
you want to make a bet?
Oh boy,
Sure, I'll make a bet.
I think
What do you wanna
Charlie. Yeah, let's stay out of this one. Matt.
bet? Sure.
All right. I think we'll see MJF versus Wardlow at All Out.
I'd
You
say
think it's
Double or
sooner?
Double
You
or
saying
Nothing.
Double or Nothing?
Yep.
All right. What's our wager?
I don't know. What do you want to bet? What are you willing to lose?
I'll put my firstborn son on the line.
Oh
No,
my
I'm just
gosh,
kidding.
this got real.
No. I will just say, how about I owe you some recreationals.
Sounds good to me.
We buy each other some recreationals because I hate betting money with my friends.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
cool.
don't mind treating them to fun. So okay,
Yep.
So here we go. Good shit. All right. Well, I lost a point on this match. I picked MJF to win. The boys picked CM Punk to win, and so I dropped one there. But that's okay because I really enjoyed it, and that's all right. I don't mind being the Spike Dudley of this show. But we move on to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. So we all thought Britt Baker's run was going to be coming to an end. It made total sense. Finally, we had Thunder Rosa facing off. Thunder Rosa comes out and looking like an Aztec warrior. I was like, oh yeah, they gave her the budget for the costume, kind of like Lucha Bros had for when they beat the Young Bucks at All Out last summer. So I was like, oh yeah, they got her real primed and ready to take over this title. Not the case. We saw Britt Baker win this match over Thunder Rosa. Total shock to us because we all picked Thunder Rosa to win. We thought maybe Mercedes Martinez would come in and help out. Nobody helps out Rosa.
Nobody helps out anybody.
Yeah.
If I'd have saw the match, if I'd have saw the results of the match on Wednesday, I definitely would have picked Brett because
Yes.
Thunder Rosa got the clean pin. Yeah, so that was a
Right.
case of
Well,
thinking too early.
Yeah, I texted the group there and I was like, uh-oh. Once, Thunder Rosa beat her on Wednesday night, it's like, that doesn't look good, but, hopefully.
Yeah.
But does this make any sense, though, to keep it on Britt Baker? Because, where does Britt Baker even go? There's nobody, where do you got, Steve?
Now it does.
Now it does. Yeah, now
See,
it does.
I mean,
What's up?
if I can go through the emotional roller coaster for the fans, I was the angriest I've been in as a wrestling fan in a long time at that outcome. I was so upset that I couldn't focus on the first couple minutes of the Moxley match because I was just cussing about how stupid Britt Baker's title run is. All of that muted by the revelation later on that Layla Hirsch and Thunder Rosa are fighting this week for #1 contention. And then the winner takes on Britt Baker in San Antonio, Texas on St. Patty's Day Massacre, whatever the hell it's called. And you gotta think Thunder Rosa is gonna freaking win it in her hometown. It's like if they have to. So kind of sucks they didn't go pull the trigger on a major pay-per-view, but that'll be a huge moment if they do that.
Yeah, for her hometown.
I'm okay if they do it, but my God, end this title reign. It's so freaking lazy. I'm so tired of the same shit every time where these faces are so stupid that they fall for this, where they got two people cheating left and right. The referee's stupid. The face is stupid. It's just, I am so down on this title reign that I want it over. I think I'd take freaking, well, anybody but Brandy, but I take like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some underling wrestler at this point. Yeah, well, Layla Hirsch I'd take at this point because she actually is something different. But yeah,
right. I agree. Because Steve and I are the best friends, I felt the exact same way. Like I was so pissed off at the result of this match. And yes, after the fact, it all makes sense now. I think if AEW was going to half-ass book a match with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa without building a ton of heat behind it and really weaving in the backstory, and then working a match that I thought personally was the worst match on the card that night, why not just put in somebody else in the meantime to challenge Britt Baker and then have Thunder Rosa go over at St. Patty's Day Smash or whatever they're calling it? I feel like it would have done the pay-per-view a lot more favors because, quite frankly, after this match, I really had a sour taste in my mouth. And for the matches that were coming after this, that was not a good thing. So it just kind of deflated me. And we still had 3 matches to go, I think, after this.
What's interesting, too, is that, you bring up a good point there. It's like Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker was the match of the year last year. It was like one of the best matches. And between Friday's tag team match and the pay-per-view, it's like those two, it's like they lost all their chemistry. It was weird. Like neither of them were good matches. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, they're both good wrestlers, and especially Thunder Rosa. It's weird, but maybe they're saving it all. And this St. Patty's Day surprise match will be like just off the charts. I hope.
I don't know. Yeah, the chemistry did seem off. And it didn't look like anybody was working too hard to put either of them over, sell for one another. They're just kind of, I don't know. It seemed pretty disjointed. At least that's how I felt. Charlie, did you have anything to add before we move on too?
Nope. Nothing about this match for sure.
We're saving it all for the next. We're saving it all for the next match.
For this, dude. Yeah, no, it was just there, dude. Both women's matches weren't the best, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to a big moment in the night. It was between Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson, just in a straight-up wrestling match. One fall, singles match. No title, just for pride, and also to see if these two would form a stable with one another. So we knew this was going to be a great wrestling match. We were actually split. No, actually, we all picked Moxley except for Matt. So Matt dropped one. He picked Danielson to win. But this was a great wrestling match. I mean, it was late in the show. Everybody's feeling kind of tired, so it's kind of seeing how is this gonna go? But pretty much what happened was Bryan Danielson gets disqualified. Was it because he was using a closed fist or something like that?
Wait, what?
No, the ending was it was a little bit confusing, and I don't think the crowd caught it. But
okay, let me tell you a little story. This is why I don't know what happened in this match. This is actually pretty good. I'm in the drunk uncle.
You're watching at a bar drinking.
Well, this is why. This guy probably walks in. I don't even know when he walked in, what match it was, but he looked exactly like Jon Moxley. Like walked like dressed like his hair was like all the mannerisms. And I honestly started laughing. I was like, well, this guy must stroke it to Moxley. When Danielson Moxley comes on, he's probably going to go fucking apeshit. And I'm standing next to him during the match, and he's like, man, I hate Moxley. I'm like, what? And he looks what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, yeah, he was wearing a leather jacket, and he even had the leather jacket that had one of those built-in belts at the bottom, so it was like old school. It looked worn out. Like he looked just like him.
In West Dallas,
why?
Dude.
Exactly. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you can't go to rehab and be a badass. And I'm like, well,
Oh, that's a shit
I mean,
take.
he's got a wife and kids, and I mean, mental health is like a big deal right now, so you can't really blame him. And I mean, if he wants to get his life on track, it's like, well, still, you can't be a badass and go to rehab. I'm like, whatever, dude. So I was like, literally, kind of like going back and forth with this guy that I really didn't want to even talk to in the first place because I wanted to watch this, so I kind of missed it. So what happened at the end of this match? Sorry.
Yeah, so Moxley kind of rolled. They had like a little bit of a scuffle in the ring, just kind of trying to out wrestle each other. And Moxley ended up rolling up Danielson almost where his shoulders were straight down on the mat and his neck was sort of contorted. So it was a really hard position to kick out of, almost like a roll up, basically. And it was such a weird position. I think a lot of fans thought it was just a transition to the next move sequence, but it ended up being the finish. And the ref counted to 3, rang the bell, and I don't think the fans realized that was the finish to the match because Danielson immediately popped up, kind of threw the ref a look like, hey, what the hell? What just happened? And the crowd slowly started to come up, realizing, oh my God, Moxley just won. So if they were going for a surprise ending, they totally nailed it. But it was a little confusing.
That dude, actually, when I was talking with him, he was like, wait, what just happened? And I heard Moxley's music, and I was like, see, there you go. You fucking Moxley hater. Your boy lost. He actually was a big Bryan Danielson fan, too, so I was kind of happy. So I didn't really know. But, so thanks for running that down for us, Matt, because the really, really big payoff happened right after this. So whatever Steve was feeling after that Thunder Rosa match,
it's all forgiven.
Totally redeeming. Exactly. So there's a huge brawl in the match. They had to get, or after the match, they had to get a bunch of refs down there to sort it out. And this, I was actually really happy to be in a public space for, because once William Regal, or Steven Regal, whatever you want to call him, is he William right now?
He's William still.
Regal.
Surprised me a little.
Yes.
So William Regal comes walking down the, not even on the ramp, off to the side, and the whole bar, once like he came on the screen, everybody just went berserk.
I bet.
Everybody. It was so fun. I was like, holy shit, this was amazing. And the whole crowd popped once they showed his face, because he didn't have any music. And he, like I said, he was off to the side of the ramp. And he gets in there and he's, slapping Moxley around. William Regal puts blood on Moxley's blood on his own face and slaps Danielson around. This is great. Makes him shake hands like the authority figure. Just a great way to debut something as special as that at the perfect moment in a very confusing match where a lot of people would be pissed off, and it all is forgiven, like you said. So, yeah. What was your reaction, Steve? Were you, did you jump out of your seat?
I yelled something out loud. I don't know. I was pretty excited because, it's perfect. That is, and for one, you know what? It's 2022. And there's something just deeply satisfying for me that, like, Lord Steven Regal was, the minute he debuted in WCW to today, is one of my all-time favorites. And to see the reaction a guy like that gets in 2022 just says what he's done for the industry, which is so cool. I mean, he helped make NXT cool before they trashed it. Brilliant mind. So yeah, what a no-brainer for AEW. One, he's now managing like the coolest faction that there is, because like he's gonna have these two badasses. Two, if they're smart, he's gonna be doing something behind the scenes. Who knows? Maybe he'll help with Ring of Honor. Maybe he'll help with AEW. But he's just an asset. So that's great, and I'm happy for him. I mean, he's gonna be appreciated.
I think Khan said at the press conference that he's gonna help on camera and off camera.
Perfect.
That'd be awesome.
There's few better.
I was really happy to see him, because I think when he made Moxley and Danielson shake hands, I think Regal was the missing element in this idea of Moxley and Danielson maybe teaming up to mentor some of the younger guys. Like we just needed like some additional connecting person between those two. So I think it's the perfect on-screen role for him, at least for right now. I'm sure they'll have other things for him too, but what a great way to debut.
Totally. Yeah, good point there. Like Danielson and Moxley were supposed to be the elder statesman, and William just comes in. He's like, no. Pump the brakes, boys. But yeah, super fun. There's so much good stories that came from this pay-per-view just from these first 8 matches going forward. That makes me really excited to tune in on Dynamite and Rampage this coming week. So everybody gained a point there except for Matt. And then moving on, we went to Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting versus Andrade, the Hardy family office of Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy, going in a 6-man tornado tag team match, which we all kind of thought was going to be kind of, I don't know, but we didn't know what to think. We weren't like crazy excited about it, but when you kind of look closer at the participants in it, why wouldn't this be awesome? I mean, Darby's amazing. Sammy Guevara goes nuts. Sting, he hasn't disappointed us since his inception into AEW. Matt Hardy, for one, not moving so well, so maybe that's why. But Andrade, he's looking better than ever. His body he looks huge. He looks in great shape. And Isaiah Cassidy, there was so many spots in here that was crazy. Never would I have thought that Sting would fly off of an entry ramp through 2 tables at his age on a huge pay-per-view, second to last match. I mean, that's just great. We saw a huge spot between Isaiah Cassidy and Sammy Guevara off of a platform.
That was nuts too.
Through
God.
2 tables. That very reckless, very dangerous. It looked like Isaiah barely hit the table. I mean, he could have broken his lower back.
I thought he hit his head. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, his head. I thought he might have shattered.
There's nothing
shattered
wrong
his
with him.
heels. Yeah, his feet just slammed on that ramp so hard that had to hurt. I mean, they were up at least maybe 10 feet, maybe. So, yeah. And I mean, we could go on for many more spots too. But what ended up happening was we all thought the team of Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy would end up winning, so we all gained a point, but we had some stipulations in there too. We thought, we said who on that team would pin who on the losing team. We all thought Isaiah Cassidy was going to be pinned. That did not happen, so we did not gain a point there.
He just practically died.
Yeah, he was dead. I thought Darby would do something like that and be off screen somewhere, because Darby Allin ended up pinning Matt Hardy in the middle of the ring for that team to win. Steve and I picked Sammy, the champ, TNT champ, to make the pin on Cassidy, so we did not gain a point there. But Matt said Darby would pin, so he gained a point. And also, Steve, in a legendary fashion, uses his kick out right before Charlie says Triple H on the show and changes his guy. I scribbled out who he initially picked, but he kicked out and he wanted Darby to get the pin to gain an extra point. And he was successful in using that, so effectively using his kick out. And in great selling fashion, too. So the boys ended up gaining 2 points, Matt and Steve, in this match, and me and Charlie only picked up a point. So, anybody have any quick notes about this one real quick before we move on?
That spot where Sting jumped off the balcony through the 4 tables is going to be etched in my brain forever. I love big table spots like that. It reminds me of the TLC match where Bubba Ray Dudley was on the ladder in the middle of the ring. Ladder gets tipped. He crashes to the outside through 4 tables. Just immediately thought of that.
Yep. Yeah, and it looked like you don't want to see a guy his age get hurt, but it is a dangerous spot. But it looked like it was done properly, and it looked like they're gonna walk away pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard for. Yeah, I'm not a stunt man, so I'm not speaking like an expert here, but I feel like as dangerous as it was probably because essentially he just kind of belly flopped on him, and he's probably all padded up. So I think if you're gonna have a big crazy spot for a 60-some-year-old, it was like they probably had that one just so that there wasn't too much he could do to himself.
Well, and it was smart too because the Butcher and the Blade came out to help out a little bit, but I think those were the guys that set up those tables too.
Yeah, because they were nice and they were all there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were arranged perfectly, so you're not having any of the participants that were actually in the match set them up, wasting time but they had guys that would make sense to be out there to set them up like that to make sure it went smoothly. I mean, that's just good logistics right there. So hats off on that. But yeah, awesome. That was an unexpected great surprise. You thought it might be a come down match before the main event. It kind of got people hyped back up. So let's move on to the main event between Adam Cole and Adam Hangman Page for the World Championship. So, Charlie, Steve, and Matt picked Adam Page, but Charlie used his kick out and he picked Adam Cole. When I picked Adam Cole also, I really thought Adam Page was going to drop it to Adam Cole. It would be the perfect time with the summer coming up and all these big shows picked. Made a lot of sense, but Adam Cole needed a match like this. So Steve and Matt stuck with their guns, no pun intended, for the old Hangman Cowboy. And they picked Adam Page, both gaining a point. And like I said, Adam Page needed this match. He there's nothing you can really hate on the guy for, but there's nothing to really love about him. I think we talked about it a little bit in our text thread, but this match was great. And Adam Cole did an amazing job selling for him, but they also just worked really, really well together too. It never really lagged. It stayed interesting after a very long 3.5, 4 hour pay-per-view. My attention was there, and it wasn't just for the picks. Like I was in it. I thought this was Adam Page's best match to date, but that's my opinion. What did you guys think?
I think after 3.5 hours, I really didn't care a ton about this match, which is really unfortunate. Just because it is the AEW World Championship, we only see it defended every once in a great while, so it's kind of a special event. But I could not tell you much of what happened in this match, I think, mostly because I was at the point where I was just mentally just exhausted after watching the rest of the pay-per-view. Also, this match was really well worked, kind of like you said, Mike, but I think there were other matches on this card that were worked just as well, if not better. So
sure,
what does that say about the championship title, right? And especially the guy holding it. And I feel like Charlie and I kind of rip on Hangman Page more than others do, but I mean, to me at least, this is just another example of why we say things like that. To your point, yeah, it was a great match. I think had I not watched the 3.5 hours of wrestling that came before it, I would have really gotten
and been in Las Vegas.
Exactly. Yeah, it was kind of hard coming back from Las Vegas 24 hours earlier. Not even, just physically also being exhausted. Yeah, just one of those matches. I was really happy with the result. I don't think Adam Cole is quite there yet and is being ready to be world champion. And at the same time, I don't know if Hangman Page is the guy for him to take the belt off of. I think there's somebody else. I don't know who it is yet, but I think we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out.
Right. Good points. Good points.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, I'm not with you on. I'm. It's really hard for me to criticize Hangman. I mean, I think the best story told was his chase. So I think he was a better chaser than a champion. However, every title match he's had now has been outstanding. I mean, and not like he was the one that was, hanging on the coattails of a superstar. Like he's held his own in all these matches well. And so, I mean, it's at some point I just got to give the credit where it's due that he's putting on amazing matches every time he defends that title. And I think that's something to be said. I think at the end of the day, I'm not crazy about the millennial cowboy thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that that's maybe part of like why I was even kind of secretly rooting for Adam Cole, baby. But no, I think they're committed to him, and he's certainly doing his part. So I guess, yeah. And I was getting a little fatigued too, but I did think it was just a fundamentally just really good match beginning to end, with lots of near falls, lots of moments where I legit thought Adam Cole was going to win, which is cool. And then, so I mean, the Dark Order thing's kind of getting old, but that was minor. But no, I think it was a really good match, and I'm curious to see where they go with this. And I think
it's probably going to be Punk. Do you guys remember Punk was on the when he was on the ropes, he was doing the belt thing. So I think they're going with Punk and maybe Page down the road.
That would be
That'd be
amazing.
cool.
That'd be
And I
good
don't know when
match.
Kenny's coming back, but I don't know. For those of you that missed the pre-show, Don Callis made his return, which was pretty great.
Mhm.
They
Nice.
played Kenny Omega's music, and then Don Callis came out and kind of put down Adam Cole, which was funny. Just saying he'll make a great transitional champion, and he was like just backhanded compliments, and just essentially saying he's gonna hold the spot for Kenny to come back.
Right.
Yeah, you make a really good point, Charlie. I would love to see Punk hold the belt for a little bit. That'd be a great match between him and Page.
Oh,
And
for
then
sure.
that could ultimately lead to when Kenny Omega comes back, him and CM Punk. Oh my God. Like just imagining like some of the title matches they could have with these guys. Yeah, it just every
Many
match
avenues.
against Punk would be like the match.
Yeah. If Adam Cole didn't take it, I can see Adam Page hanging on to us for a little longer. And yeah, Charlie, you brought up Punk signaling the belt after his. Yeah, I'm here for it. But man, I don't know why you were so tired. I actually just bought a new washing machine, loaded the new one down, loaded the other one back up the stairs, worked a hockey game, stood on, and the drunk uncle doesn't have seats, stood on my feet. And watched
Damn.
the whole pay-per-view, and I was still engaged for that match. So
Wow.
I don't know what you're crying about, brother.
You're a better
buddy.
fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be. I mean, could also be like I spent a week on my feet, but I mean, my tragedy is not better than yours.
All right. No biggie. All good. But Charlie, did you have any notes on this one?
Nope, it was a decent match, but he said, like Matt said, it did. It's a long show, and it's kind of when you kind of know how it's going to go, it kind of takes the focus away of watching the match. So I knew it was going to go how it was going to go after I was watching it. I'm like, God, this is going to go Page's way. So it takes the amazement or the focus away from it, because you're not sitting on the edge wondering who's going to win. It's kind of predictable, right? And I hate predictability on shows. That's why the show to me was very good. It wasn't excellent. It was a very good show, but it wasn't great. So
Yeah, we didn't-
because it was
we didn't
no
see-
title changes, nothing. Just a good wrestling show overall. That's
Yeah,
my
that's
take
kind
on
of
it.
that's kind of like the hardship of when you do watch as much wrestling as you, Charlie, and us, and yeah, you kind of see the writing on the wall for a little bit, and the only little glimmer of hope that Adam Cole might win it was when he was near the ropes, and after I think he took a buckshot lariat or something like that, and he just got like the back of his hand
Yeah.
to touch the ropes, like
That
at
moment
the
I
2.5 count.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, yes, like I felt like a kid again. So that was it. But once you saw it go down, Adam Cole was not going to do this. So I dropped a point. Sorry, Charlie, to have you use your kick out on that one for you dropping the point.
I kind of got. I mean, I thought they would do. I thought
sold
they'd
ya.
I thought, well, yeah, kind of, but I thought they'd have at least one title change. And that
exactly.
I just took a. You gotta do something. Everybody gets the same picks, you all tie. So I just took a launch on that one. So it's like it gets kind of boring. Everybody's got
Little
the
do
same
you guys
picks.
know. Yeah, little do you guys know, I'm actually the mole on this show. I actually try to sabotage. I'm not going for the wins. I just tried to get you guys to flip.
Well, the
Just
side
because-
bets are what makes it, because everybody has
Yeah.
the same pick, so it's kind of boring. So it's like the side thing, like who's going to get the pen, who's doing the job, are the ones that make the difference. Because pretty much everybody's got the same pick, so it's like
Right. This is a game everybody can play at home too. If you're a fan of Keep the Kayfabe, if you got fun stipulations or fun rules that you think you want us to work in, you can write to us at keepthekayfabe414@gmail.com or shoot us a note on Facebook at Keep the Kayfabe or on Instagram also at Keep the Kayfabe. We'd love to hear from you. And because of those stipulations, we have a winner. There was no tie. So there is a clear-cut winner. And we will find out the winner after promo of the week.
Oh,
And we got a promo here from Bob Henning from Greenfield, Wisconsin. No message, just signed his name and he said, play this. It's from 1991, the Legion of Doom. After their battle in Great Britain for the UK Battle Royale. So turn down your radio because there's probably going to be a lot of screaming knowing it's the Legion of Doom. Here we go.
Federation Tag Team Champions. They are Hawk and Animal, the Legion of Doom. I'm certain you heard the comments earlier on from the men that are going to be challenging you tonight for these titles. Power and Glory, Paul Roma, and the mighty Hercules, Animal.
That's right, Gene. Hawk and I are back there watching the monitor, and we couldn't help overhearing you two little geeks. You tell us we don't deserve to be champions. You tell us you're going to show us where the power and who is the glory. How do you think we got to be world champions? By beating nobodies? We've beaten the best that the World Wrestling Federation has to offer, and we're going to be champions for a long, long time. Right, Hawk?
What about it, Hawk?
Swelling of the fluid sac surrounding the brain, contusions, inner bleeding. These are the things that our dreams are made of. Power and glory, and you'll soon be renamed Sour and Glory, because when we get done with you, your mother won't accept the looks that you have been thrown about the ring from one end to the other right here in London.
You know, gentlemen, aside from your title defense, I don't know if with the magnitude of this title defense, I don't know if I should touch on it, but it's conceivable the two of you are going to be involved in the gigantic battle royal at the end of the night. Now, I tried to ask a couple of people earlier on what would happen, say, for instance, if Hawk and Animal, if you were to be the final two men in the ring at the end of the battle royal, how would things shake up?
Just one way to sum that up, Mean Gene. You see, Gene, Hawk and I, ever since we were little punk kids in Chicago, we've been against the odds all our life. And we've proven, just the way a lot of people out there have proven, that you can be something. And now, we're the WWF World Tag Team Champions. And after we beat you, Power and Glory, we're coming after that Battle Royal, because there's nothing better that the Legion of Doom likes is a good gang fight. Right, Hawk?
Thank you very much, gentlemen. They are the Legion of Doom, Animal and Hawk. Their title defense tonight is against Power and Glory, and it all happens here at Royal Albert Hall. Speaking of that, let's get back outside to my close friends and colleagues, the Weasel and you, Gorilla Monsoon.
Well, get the Tylenol. We told you there was going to be a lot of screaming in that promo, but you know, that's the way they did it back in the day. I don't think many people were quiet promos back in the day. Maybe Jake the Snake, but these guys certainly were louder than the motorcycles than they rode in on.
I had to pull my headphones out there like when I first started listening to it. Yeah, talk about turning things up to an 11 continually.
Big time. Cool. Well, thank you, Bob, for submitting promo of the week for us this week. Thanks for listening and thanks for the support. Shoot us your promos at Keep the Kayfabe at Instagram or Facebook. So let's get to the moment we've all been waiting for. It is the results for our predictions, and I came in last at 6-7. Not a very good showing to have a losing record when you have a wrestling podcast, but you know, you got to make it fun. You got to get a little controversy, and you got to keep it interesting. Charlie was second to last with a 7-7 record. So that leaves the best friends. Current champion, Matt Michelson, and never crowned champion, Steve Grobschmidt. And new Keep the Kayfabe King Booker. Steve Grobschmidt comes in with a record of 9-5 over Matt Michelson of 8-5. So that kick out that he used at the very last second was like putting his hand on the ropes, breaking the count. Using his kick out effectively got him the championship. Wow, Steve. What an effective way to win. Do you have any thoughts on what's going through your mind, buddy?
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Very true. For this one, that's for sure.
Hey,
so
at least
congratulations.
I got one on under my belt now, finally.
Exactly.
Just like Chris Jericho, Steve, I will not shake your hand.
Nice.
Ooh.
I will say Charlie's words stung those many months ago, and I try to think. I try to do my picks more with my head than my heart.
Right. Yeah, he cuts to the core. That's for sure. But yeah, congratulations, Steve. This was a fun prediction show. I always love the pay-per-views just because we run them down. It was great talking with you boys. And thank you all for listening. Again, shoot us a note on all of our social medias and hit that subscribe button. And this week, go forth by keeping it Triple H. Stay humble, stay hungry, and stay hard.
Triple H.
Woo!
It's good to be king, if just for a while. To be there in velvet, yeah, to give them a smile. It's good to get high and never come down. It's good to be king.